Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Marshall here, and we've got 1 versus 1 between HIMARS and Ptasior. HIMARS in sandy brown on the South Pole, going bots first. Meanwhile, Ptasior is on the North Pole in ice blue. Now, apologies if my casting is a bit odd today. I haven't been feeling well for a few days. So, there might be spates of silence, etc, etc. That, and now that it's summertime and the sun comes up really early, I really struggle to get a good night's sleep because it always wakes me up. So, but anyway, let's have a look. This is Amadeus Rift. You can see a number of fabs going out for each player, usually about 3, though Ptasior intersperses that with a couple of docks with only 2 fabs, probably for more protection. Maybe a stinger coming up next, or a fab. More docks, okay. Usually you get about 3 and they'll wander off together, or one will help get the base. There we go, there's the 3rd one coming out for Ptasior. And that will mean that they can build stuff up a lot quicker in those expansions, whether it be the actual metal extractors or the factories that one would hope you put up to help support those expansions. So here we've got what? We've got bot air, so heavy bot play from HIMARS. And up with Ptasior. Let's have a gander. What do we got? Bot air. So both players tending to go heavier bots at the moment rather than a vehicle transition. And the last time we played it on, we watched a game on this map, we saw Nimzo doing some rather ludicrous strats, although I was somewhat distracted by a cat. What you also tend to find is that you expand to the 2, then to the 3 here. Because you've got this deep crater that is impassable, it means that you do have only to worry about a couple of sides rather than the full side. You notice a difference between this crater here that my mouse is hovering over and this one here. It looks noticeably deeper with steeper edges and everything, whereas these ones are shallow ones which you can go inside of. I think if I do this, here we go. This is the pathing debug view. You can see the hotkeys that are required for this in your settings. I have set them to something different. But this shows you where your units can and cannot go. So that's useful for seeing, oh, okay, I can't go in that crater or anything like that. Just so you're aware. But that's just a thing. Meanwhile, there we go, vehicle factories coming up from Ptasior at his expansions, as suggested. Usually it is better to put up your factories at your expansions because you build your armies from those expansions, which then automatically help defend them and give a bit more versatility in defense rather than static turrets which can be outmaneuvered very, very easily. A little bit of raiding coming in here on this this crater there. Fab are just about staying alive. Not for very much longer though. Loads of docks coming in for HIMARS to help defend that, and that should hopefully deal with that quite nicely, but he's going to need some more fabs, and we've got another one coming already. And if you do lose one fab like that, it's very easy to click on a factory, press Control, and then click on a fabricator. That will jump the queue and put your fabricator as the next thing that gets built. And if you have a repeat build queue, it doesn't enter the the loop. It just gets built the one time. Just so you know. Fun facts with Marshall. There we are. Raiding happening on a number of different fronts now. HIMARS trying to get round the back. Again, meets a factory. Putting up radars as well, as long as you can support it with your power, is good, because it allows you to see where your enemy might be. Not that Ptasior can support it right now. He's going to need a few more P-gens. Oh! Oh! Just about managed to duck and weave and take out both fabricators there. Nasty. Absolutely nasty. T2 bots coming up in the distance, though, for Ptasior. Very bot heavy. We even see some air fabs poking around on the side of the map there, over to the east. If you can get a couple of cheeky air fabs out and get them expanding, give it a go. The mechs don't need to be up for very long to be paying for themselves, so as long as your air fabs go unnoticed for a little bit, they very, very much pay for themselves. These little forces like this can be quite powerful if used correctly. Don't wander them straight into the base. That is the incorrect use. What you want to be doing with these little forces is going around for these expansions and satellite bases. Just about the right size to be able to take out an expansion quickly enough that you can just drive by. If you don't have a critical mass for an expansion raid, it'll mean that you linger at that expansion and you give your opponent time to respond to you. But if raiding the expansion is what you truly desire, then by all means, do what you want. Interesting couple of battle lines here. We've got a horde of docks and sparks against a horde of docks and sparks, except Brown has the slightly bigger horde. And noticeably the home field advantage. Here we go. Maybe a little bit of a fight here. Again, you see that raiding party that just can go through, take out the mechs without too much of a problem. Ptasior doing a good move here and splitting his forces, basically making HIMARS have to respond to one of these two. Cannot respond to both of them effectively at the same time. Which means this one could go and raid these 5 mechs or follow up and raid the 4. Could go for the 4 and then turn tail and run while these guys give chase. That's also possible. The T2 for Ptasior is complete. T2 for HIMARS just slightly lagging behind there. Now look at this. The mechs maybe get one more mechs here and then run. But I suspect the micro is going to be somewhere else and these won't then actually run. Yeah. Oh, maybe they will. Maybe they will. Not necessarily too much excitement there because the docks did manage to catch up. Forward fabs. Trying to lock down the equatorial metal there. Let's have a look at what's going on over here on the platforms. HIMARS Air is trying to control them as much as possible. We have got Galata coming out and about. Potential another air engagement here. Going to take out the radar. Or not. Just get a little bit of a scout around. See what's happening. We've got some locusts. It's worth keeping a track of. Not so favourable air trade. Can we get the mechs? The bumblebees running away. Oh dear. That was not so optimal trade there for HIMARS. Okay, so what are these locusts likely to target? Now remember, I always say this as well. Locusts should not go in blind because they will probably run into an army. They should always have some air scouts or something. Like here, they are running in blind. They don't know what's over here. They could meet an army. So we're going to watch this from Ptasior's view. He has no idea what is defending here. So the element of surprise of the locusts disappears. There you go. See? Absolutely terrible locust run. And I say it every time. Every time. And these supposedly good players continue to whiff their locusts. Trying to get up some sneaky teleporter strats there is Ptasior. course, the teleporter strats will make moving your units around the battlefield very, very quick. Especially when it comes to vehicles. Not that he has a home teleport that I can see. And I doubt the play was a decoy. HIMARS now has quite a sizable army in comparison to Ptasior. But a weaker economy. And raids like this will not help. We have got Blue Hawks coming out to deal with things like the ant swarms. But T2 bots from both teams means that sniper bots can come out and shoot down the Blue Hawk shots. But I don't see any coming out for Ptasior just yet. I do, however, see a lot of air factories coming out. So how many is that now? That's 5, 6? 6 air factories plays 3. Not good news. Ptasior definitely investing in the air game here. We've got attacks on multiple fronts now. Doesn't really want to push in on that one, does HIMARS? He doesn't really have the forces to do it, and he's got a nice pelter line to defend. So he may as well hold fast. 0 point. I'm going to engage. 0. Battle lines here could be interesting. We don't have a lot of anti-air. There is some, but not a lot. Bumblebees can come over on the other side, getting a few shot down there, but well-placed bombing run. Eliminates a number of units. Now Ptasior sits on the ridge, waiting for a bad move. You then have Ptasior try and push in against here. Nice trades because of the walls. More tellies coming up. T2 air, T2 vehicles. Still no home side teleporter, which is most peculiar. Ptasior definitely in with the air game. HIMARS going up for T2 air himself now. Gonna try to catch up a little bit. But 6 plus a T2 still beats out at 3 plus a T2. Unless you have some very good micro. Look at these airfabs. Trying to do what they can. Reclaiming. Or repairing. Reclaiming what? I don't know what that was reclaiming. I have no idea anymore. HIMARS, though, looks to be taking the centre ground. Across the whole equator. The army's still hiding, just holding. Doesn't need to push out, just needs to keep Ptasior at bay. And what this sort of tension does is it forces armies to locate and gives you a little bit of a breathing space to adapt the rest of your base. Here, we see the T2 air. The Kestrels do a bit of damage. Oh, Phoenix getting shot down. Bumblebees also. Not enough AA on the ground. Could have lured a bit of air trading over ground-based AA there. AA being anti-air, of course. But we do need a lot more air factories, rather, for HIMARS. Trying desperately to get that T2 up. Factories now in favour of Ptasior. Also now with the T2 vehicles. So we've got a teleporter over here where we have the tension, and we did have a frontline teleporter over there. So that's an interesting move, and this is potentially hazardous for Ptasior. He's walking blindly into a surround. Need a bit of radar coverage there, sir. Your power is not favouring anything you're trying to do here. Yeah, those slammers. A little bit too far out on the front. We've got the bots on the side and the vehicles along the line. God, look at that. Absolutely destroyed Ptasior's force there with those docks with the fire rate and the slammers. And now we've got a little bit of a soft underbelly here. A couple of levelers getting caught out. A number of skitters for the vision range, but again getting caught out. The T2 air. There are some spinners there to deal with them, trying to focus them down. Look at that, and that leaves the rest of the army completely undefended from T2 air. Look at those Kestrels just gradually picking through the army. Look at the army count there for HIMARS, just going down and down and down. The air remains. We've got to get some support in here from HIMARS. Phoenix that was going to try and get rid of those Kestrels gets absolutely destroyed. You'll notice these replays have no air wreckage. The recent update to PA introduced naval and air wreckage, which therefore tells you that this replay is a little bit old. Apologies, I have been busy. HIMARS' pushes on the picture-in-picture there, if you were watching that, probably got repulsed as well. And we now see a counter-attack initiative from Ptasior in a number of places. Really, Ptasior's air has really helped this game. Without having those additional air factories, he would not have been able to soak up a lot of the damage from the anti-air. HIMARS now really needs to get himself back in ship shape. The army values are more or less the same, despite the army counts being very different. That suggests that HIMARS has a lot of T1 tiddly docks, whereas Ptasior now has a much greater amount of T2 in his army. Fabbers, 33 apiece. And another T2 vehicle factory coming out for Ptasior. Gonna need a little bit more T2 mechs to really support that, but looks like he's working on it. We've got a lot of T2 metal around Ptasior's hemisphere now. HIMARS, though, gradually starting to get there. The T2 vehicles, 2 of them are queued up. We've got some sniper bots as well to try and take out some of those vehicles. There we are. Again, that counter-offensive from Ptasior going to take out a little bit of the economy there. A little bit aggressive placement for radar there. Now look at this. This is good as well. Just get a couple of combat fabs going and reclaiming some wreckage. If in your base you've got some storage, which we've got here, you can go away and add some mechs to your pile. Ptasior again going to get surrounded. Will HIMARS take this opportunity to push in? He's got some air support this time. Ptasior might not want to necessarily go all out on this one. We will need to defend the backside here. Ptasior still struggling for his economy. That's probably now with the second vehicle factory. Yep. We have got vanguards coming out though. They do have radar stealth, so that might be able to lead a few small forces and get some surprises. Now, if you're wondering how the walls are placed like this, there's a mod that does that. I don't know what it's called, but I know that there's a mod that allows you to alter things like the amount of spacing and placement that you have, stuff like that. Whether it's walls or mines or whatever. T2 air now from both sides. There and ready. HIMARS starting to pull away with the armies again. Needs to use them wisely though. Really needs to start thinking about actually surgical attacks. that can do some damage. Oh, not a lot of AA in your army still, HIMARS. Problem, as that army was absolutely destroyed, absolutely toast, with no recourse whatsoever. The air comes in late and doesn't want to go over the top, even though it probably could start to contest. There's a few low-hanging fruit there. There's the kestrels are on the outside or a little bit behind. Loads of bumblebees coming in, though, from HIMARS. Not necessarily where you want them to be in an air engagement trade like this. There we go, we've got the vanguards coming in now. The air has no anti-ground in it, so that's useless. And we now have an army with four vanguards, excuse me, and a few levelers strolling right towards some T2 mechs Heartland. That's not good for HIMARS. He's going to have to deal something about this. I did not see that coming up. Hello. We've got some Titans, some Ares. If that can get up and defend, that will be juicy. Have we got any on this side? Or indeed, has Ptasior seen it? I don't know if he has. I don't think so. I don't think he has. Which is pretty big, you know. Not seeing that. There you go. Once HIMARS can deal with this, doesn't want to sit his forces in shot of it though. Then he can focus on getting that Ares up, which he's doing anyway. Lots of fabs going over there to do that. We're starting to get a lot more air factories up from both teams now, though. On this side, we've got, what's that? 6 plus a T2. Ptasior pushing in again. So on this side, we've got, how many? We've got now 9 plus a T2, and loads of T2 vehicle factories coming up now as well. Ptasior really trying to keep the air game afloat. This is what tends to happen in the higher level games. You tend to have your air game simultaneous to anything on the ground, and you can only really progress the ground when you have a good air game, but those trades were not very good for HIMARS. Losing all but 2 Phoenix. These combat fabs doing a really great job. Look at this, reclaiming into Ptasior's half. What's going on here? More vanguards though getting close. Closing in on the levelers. They really need to shoot them down. Otherwise the vanguards are going to shred that army, and they are. Loads of levelers getting destroyed there unnecessarily. Again, it's the radar stealth. You now need to have more vision coverage across much of the map. We've got a nuclear missile launcher being built from Ptasior now. This is a 1 versus 1 on a single planet game. We've got Titans and nukes. Ah, we've got anti-nukes coming up from HIMARS. Is that because he saw the launcher going up? I don't think so. He didn't, so he must just be anticipating. Very well anticipated, I must say. There we go, we have the Ares coming out now. We need the vision coverage. Mars doesn't yet have it. Ptasior is going to realise... Oh, what is that? That looks like an Ares firing big Ares shots to me. The problem with the Ares, though, is it's very vulnerable to air. So you've got to try... and not only protect it from the air, but also keep it at a distance from any army that's trying to attack it. The Ares is a long-range advantage weapon. Do not let it get caught out, because that's when it starts to lose health very, very quickly, especially against a column of T2 vehicles. And if vanguards get close, they do start to do a lot of damage. Look at that now, the Ares down to 65%. nice big fight over on this side as well. As HIMARS is trying to push in, sees a teleporter. Says, no, you don't. Tries to deal with the T2 mechs over here. In comes the air again. Have we got anti-air? We've got a storm! We've got a storm! The air has disappeared! Oh, my beautiful storm. Oh, that was gorgeous. One sneaky storm that I don't think anyone noticed. We've got orbital coming up as well. A nuclear missile now being built. Oh, that storm. Oh, I love it when that happens. Oh, very good. Very, very good. Right, and we've got a nuke from HIMARS as well. What's going on? Both sides going nukes. We've got a Titan from HIMARS. Have we got any Titans coming up from Ptasior? No, but we have got the orbital. He's not building anything into it yet. But look at this. Look at this. Oh, the teleporter. Oh, wow. The air's going to have to come in here, but we have another storm. We have another storm. Oh, don't let it be like for like. We have a storm. Oh, no. It's going to happen again. HIMARS notices, I think, and pulls the air out very, very quickly. That storm is a problem. Almost dead. Almost dead. We're going to have to watch the bases now with these nuclear missiles. Because there's potentially a lot of explosions that can happen in this game. HIMARS now pushing into Ptasior's main side through the shortest approach. We've got some shellers and snipers to support. We've got 2 storms in there now. The air game has been neutralized. Because of this, are we going to get a defensive nuke up in time? Ptasior's metal economy is not supportive of rushing up that nuke. He's struggling, both players, struggling for the nuke. The Ares could push in, but it's starting to get in range of all sorts of resources there. Orbital not quite successful in getting up. The storm did get taken down on this attack from HIMARS. But Ptasior is in HIMARS base. A little bit of a problem here. The commander is slightly exposed. Panic stations. As levelers are very, very close to a lot of fabricators and a commander here. This could be painful if we get into the resources. But fortunately for HIMARS, just about manages to deal with that. Now notice this, we're starting to see some Hornets come out for the T2 air. Those are very good against your T2 vehicles. But in comes more air again, has a bit of a nose. Wanders over the base, air trade over the commander, Ptasior's air! Where did it go? Where did it go? That was lethal, we now have Hornets coming north. What is this game? We have a nuke ready to launch. I'm gonna sit it over there. We still have the Ares, it could push in and do wonders, it just needs anti-air support. I think Ptasior was having a look to see if there were any anti-nukes in the base and he spotted one. So now he's going to wait for that nuke to send it going somewhere that might either be defensive or very, very good nuke placement. Problem with that anti-nuke is it covers quite a wide area. And oh, there we go, defensive nuke on the Ares. Gorgeous. Ares trying to get away from it. Just about does not make it. And the Ares out for the count. HIMARS really, in my opinion, failed to capitalize on that Ares. But then again, it did present again that factor of tension and the threat on this side. Problem is now we're going to have another nuke that's going to go up. In slow time though, but the resources can support it. Both teams doing the same. We've got some Pelicans in here. Are we going to see some Vanguard drops? I don't know. We're seeing something dropping. I think those are combat fabs. Yes, they are. We're going to see a teleport. No, they're not. No, never mind. We're just going to see a little platoon here. Be a little bit annoying. Oh, the bumblebees. Going for a commander snipe, Ptasior, with that many bumblebees. That's... Hey, I want to snipe your commander with that many bumblebees, but my goodness me, what a waste! They're all gone. HIMARS starting to look very, very strong indeed. The economy and the army advantage is real now, the all-2 army. Seems about right for where it should be, but that is a lot of vanguards from Ptasior now pushing through the equator, cancelling out that economic advantage. Can HIMARS do anything about this? His army is inside Ptasior's base. Ptasior mustering what he can to defend against this. I don't know if he'll manage. He doesn't want to spaghetti into the army like he's doing at the moment. He doesn't have enough artillery units to be using the buildings as cover. This could be curtains. We don't have a nuke ready to defend yet, but this air from HIMARS standing guard. Let's have a look at Ptasior on this side though, starting to really push in. HIMARS could do a lot of damage to the base. We might even have another defensive nuke on our hands, but really, we've got another army coming in, and we don't want to preemptively fire this nuke. Does Ptasior know about that second army? He can see it in his radar. And the nuke is ready. Ptasior, though, with all of these vanguards, it's a race to the commanders. It really is. Because if this nuke gets up, it's a defensive nuke on this army, but it's threatening the base at this point. We had a defensive nuke up north there from Ptasior, so he lives to fight for just a bit longer. He needs to get his economy in ship shape, though. It's not looking good. Flak taking out some of the air there. The Vanguard's getting close to the nuke. It's going north. It's going north for the commander. It's going north for the commander. Can Ptasior get to HIMARS' commander in time? HIMARS trying for the comms snipe here. Has he got any anti-ground in his air force to do it? No, he hasn't. The nuke is there. It hits. It wipes out the base. The commander is not hit. It is not hit. Ptasior having to run away. Not Ptasior, sorry. HIMARS having to run away from the base. The Vanguard's in his base. What is going on here? Everyone is getting wiped back to the Stone Age. HIMARS lives to fight another day. Ptasior's army is in the gutter. HIMARS' army not quite managing to break through, but just enough. Is Ptasior demoralized enough to GG out of the game? I don't know. His economy is not looking good. He is. Down he goes. What a climax to that game. What an absolute treat of a game. Well, that was tense. This was lucky. And that is the end of the video.